You've probably done this. Took yesterday's food out of the fridge, popped it in the microwave, and thought you were doing the right thing. But what almost nobody knows is that some foods change when they're reheated, and that change can produce dangerous substances that are harmful to your heart, your memory, and even increase the risk of serious diseases. The worst part? These are everyday foods you probably eat all the time, thinking you're taking care of your health. That's why doctors are warning. 4 common foods can become dangerous when reheated, and in this video I'm going to show you what these foods are and how to avoid the problem. Before we begin, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss more health tips like this one. And tell me in the comments, do you usually reheat food in the microwave? Type yes or no. Your answer could help someone else. Before I show you the 4 foods, you need to understand one very important thing. When you cook a food, it goes through a natural transformation. But when that food is stored in the fridge and then reheated, that transformation continues. And not always in a good way. In some cases, reheating certain foods can create substances that are harmful to the body. These substances can cause intestinal inflammation, overload the liver, impair memory, and even increase the risk of serious diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's. This happens gradually, without pain, without clear symptoms. But over time, the body feels it. Your energy drops. Your mind feels foggy. And no one suspects that the problem might be coming from your food. That's why doctors and nutritionists are raising the alarm. Reheating certain foods the wrong way can be dangerous, especially for people over 50. Now I'm going to show you, one by one, which 4 foods are the most concerning, and what you can do to keep eating well without putting your health at risk. Food 1. Spinach. From superfood to hidden risk. You've probably heard that spinach is one of the healthiest foods in the world, right? And it truly is. Rich in iron, vitamins, antioxidants, it strengthens bones, blood, and the immune system. Many people eat spinach specifically to prevent disease and maintain good health. But what almost no one knows is that spinach, when stored for too long and then reheated the wrong way, can become a silent risk. And the reason is a natural chemical process, one that most people are completely unaware of. Check this out. Spinach contains a substance called nitrate, which is common in green leafy vegetables like lettuce and arugula. When you eat spinach fresh or freshly cooked, those nitrates are good for your body. They help with circulation, lower blood pressure, and even protect the heart. But when spinach stays in the fridge for too long and is then reheated, especially in the microwave or over high heat, the nitrate starts to change. It turns into nitrite, and then nitrosamine. That's the problem. Nitrosamines are highly toxic chemical compounds already linked to the development of stomach and intestinal cancers, and even neurological diseases like Alzheimer's. And the worst part, these toxins have no taste or smell. You don't feel them, but your body does, especially for people over 60. Because over time your metabolism slows down and your ability to eliminate harmful substances decreases. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition confirmed reheating nitrate-rich vegetables increases the formation of nitrosamines, raising the risk of disease. Think of a common situation. You make a vegetable soup on Sunday with spinach. You store it in the fridge. On Tuesday, you reheat a portion in the microwave. Everything seems fine, but the spinach inside has gone through that silent transformation, and you could be ingesting a toxin without even knowing it. That's why doctors are clear in their advice. If you cook with spinach, eat it the same day or at most the next day. Avoid reheating it more than once. If there are leftovers, eat them cold, like in salads. If you must reheat it, use low heat on the stove. Never use the microwave. These simple steps keep spinach as your ally, and not an enemy to your health. If this surprised you, drop a comment below. I didn't know that. And if you're still watching, type the number 1. That way I know you're with me, paying attention, and taking care of what really matters. Now get ready, because the next food is even more common, and so is the risk. Let's talk about potatoes. Food 2. Potato. A traditional food that requires caution. When reheated, potatoes are one of the most beloved foods in the world. They're on almost every table, mashed at lunch, boiled at dinner, in Sunday stew. They're versatile, delicious, and part of many families' food culture. But there's a silent risk that hardly anyone knows about. a risk that appears when potatoes are stored the wrong way and then reheated. And this isn't something rare. We're talking about a very common mistake: cooking potatoes, leaving them out of the fridge for hours, then storing and reheating them the next day. This habit, so routine, can create the perfect environment for a bacteria called Clostridium botulinum. This bacterium is dangerous. It produces a toxin that affects the nervous system. Even if the potato looks normal, same color, smell, and taste, it can still be contaminated. And this toxin can cause symptoms such as nausea, weakness, blurred vision, and in severe cases, even muscle paralysis. In older adults, the risk is even higher. The digestive system responds more slowly, the body takes longer to eliminate toxins, and dehydration can set in quickly, leading to serious complications. And there's more. When potatoes are reheated after cooling down, their starch changes structure. This forms what's called resistant starch, which is harder to digest. The result? Gas, bloating, constipation, or diarrhea. A heavy feeling after meals. Have you ever felt that? You had mashed potatoes at lunch and spent the afternoon feeling bloated and sluggish. It might not have just been the seasoning. It could have been the reheating. A study published in Frontiers in Neuroscience showed that toxins produced by poorly managed gut bacteria can affect the brain, contributing to issues like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And it all starts with what we eat and how we prepare and store our food. So what can you do? Cook only the amount you need. If there are leftovers, cool them quickly and store them in a tightly sealed container in the refrigerator. Never store potatoes wrapped in aluminum foil. It traps moisture and speeds up bacterial growth. Avoid reheating in the microwave. Use the stovetop with low heat instead. And if it's been in the fridge for more than 2 days, it's best not to eat it. These are simple precautions, but they make a big difference, especially if you're over 60 and want to keep your digestion, immunity, and memory in good shape. Food. 3. Chicken, the most common protein that can cause inflammation. When reheated chicken is part of the routine in almost every household, it's convenient, affordable, full of protein, and considered a healthy choice. You roast it on Sunday, store it in container, and eat it throughout the week. Most people do this thinking they're eating well. But what many don't know is that reheating chicken the wrong way can cause inflammation in the body and lead to consequences that take time to show up, but are very harmful. Let me explain. When chicken is cooked for the first time, it goes through a natural process. The proteins denature, meaning they change shape. This makes digestion and nutrient absorption easier. The problem starts when that already cooked chicken sits in the fridge for days and is then reheated, especially in the microwave or with very high heat. During that second reheating, the proteins change even more. They become tougher, harder to break down in the stomach. The body has to work much harder to digest them, and it doesn't always succeed. The result? A heavy feeling, gastrointestinal discomfort. And in people over 60, nausea, indigestion, and even a drop in energy. But it doesn't stop there. This process also encourages the formation of compounds called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. And here's the real danger. AGEs are compounds that cause chronic inflammation in the body. And inflammation, as you may have heard, is the beginning of many problems: high blood pressure, insulin resistance, joint pain, and even neurological diseases like Alzheimer's. Studies published in medical journals like Nutrition and Metabolism confirm frequent consumption of age-rich foods accelerates cellular aging and affects memory. Now think, how many times a week do you reheat chicken that's been in the fridge for a few days? How many times did you think you were eating well, but felt sluggish afterward? What can you do to avoid this? Try to prepare chicken fresh whenever possible. If you need to store it, use sealed containers and keep it in the fridge for no more than 2 days. Avoid reheating in the microwave. Use the stovetop with low heat. Never reheat the same chicken more than once. And if you can, eat chicken cold, like in salads or cold sandwiches. These precautions protect your intestines, your liver, and even your brain. In the next section, we'll talk about a basic food that seems harmless, but can quietly cause food poisoning if reheated the wrong way. Let's talk about rice. Food 4. Rice, a staple food that can cause food poisoning if reheated the wrong way. Rice is a long-time staple on Brazilian plates. It's present in nearly every meal, with beans, with chicken, with vegetables, with everything. It's so common We hardly imagine it could be harmful. But yes, when rice is stored and then reheated the wrong way, it can cause food poisoning. And the problem lies in something invisible, but real, a bacteria called Bacillus cereus. This bacteria is present in many grains, including raw rice. During cooking, most of the bacteria are killed, but some spores survive. And when cooked rice sits out of the fridge for too long, those spores wake up and start to multiply. They produce dangerous toxins that have no smell, no taste, no color. In other words, you can look at the rice and think it's fine, but it might be filled with something that will irritate your gut without you realizing it. The most common symptoms are abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, weakness, and in older people, low blood pressure, dehydration, and a general faint feeling. Now imagine a real-life situation. You cook a big pot of rice on Sunday. You serve lunch. Leave the rest to cool, sitting on the stove for hours. Only later that night do you put it in the fridge. Then, throughout the week, you reheat small portions in the microwave. Sounds convenient, right? But that cycle of slow cooling plus improper storage plus quick reheating creates the ideal environment for Bacillus cereus to act. And the microwave, although fast, doesn't eliminate these toxins. It heats unevenly and often only on the surface. Studies show that frequently eating poorly stored rice strains the gut and microbiota, causing recurring episodes of indigestion, gas, fatigue, and even mood swings. How to avoid this? Cook only the amount that will be eaten that day. If there are leftovers, let them cool for no more than 1 hour. Then store them immediately in the fridge in a sealed container. Avoid leaving cooked rice at room temperature. When reheating, use the stove and stir well to heat it evenly. Never reheat the same rice more than once, and if it's been in the fridge for more than 2 days, it's best not to eat it. Remember, rice can continue to be your ally, but only if it's treated with the care it deserves. In the next section, I'll show you why all of this matters, and how these small precautions in the kitchen can do more for your health than many medications. A lot of people think taking care of your diet is just about choosing good ingredients, but the truth is, as the years go by, what affects your health most isn't just what you eat, it's how you prepare, store, and reheat your food. And that's where the danger lies, especially for those over 50 or 60 years old. See if you're making any of these mistakes. 1. Leaving food to cool on the stove for hours. You finish lunch, leave the pot there, and only put it in the fridge later that night. That window, between the heat of cooking and the cold of refrigeration, is when bacteria multiply the fastest. The longer the food stays lukewarm, the higher the risk of invisible contamination. 2. Reheating the same dish multiple times. That leftover soup, the rice, the chicken, you reheat a bit today, a bit more tomorrow, and so on. But with each reheating, the food's properties change. Proteins degrade, nutrients are lost, and toxins can develop, especially in cooked meats, eggs, rice, and vegetables. 3. Relying on the microwave as the main way to reheat. It's fast, easy, and has become a habit. But the microwave heats unevenly, especially dense foods like rice, potatoes, and chicken. The center of the food can stay cold, and bacteria survive. Additionally, rapid heat alters protein structure, making it harder to digest. 4. Storing food in aluminum pots or aluminum foil. It's best to store leftovers in sealed glass or plastic containers. Aluminum foil, for example, can trap moisture and smother the food, creating the perfect environment for harmful bacteria. 5. Eating out of habit, ignoring how your body responds. Do you get that heavy feeling after eating, or brain fog after lunch, or sudden fatigue for no apparent reason? It might not be just age. It could be how you're reheating your foods. The truth is, the kitchen can be your greatest pharmacy or your biggest trap. What seems like a simple plate of food can slowly inflame your gut, overload your liver, and weaken your mind. The good news is, you can change this with small, simple daily habits. Comment below, which of these mistakes have you made, and will you avoid starting today? And get your mindset ready. In the next section, I'll show you why taking care of food is taking care of life, and how these little acts of awareness can protect your health for years to come. Now that you've learned about the 4 most commonly eaten foods that can become dangerous when reheated, and the common mistakes that often go unnoticed in the kitchen, it's time to take a deep breath and reflect. Because the issue isn't the rice, the potato, the chicken, or the spinach. They aren't villains. They remain nutritious, important foods full of benefits. What really changes everything is how you treat them after they leave the heat. And that makes all the difference. Do you know why? Because as the years pass, the body changes. Digestion slows down, immunity doesn't respond with the same strength, and small oversights, once unnoticed, now begin to take a toll. Eating 2-day-old rice left outside the fridge, reheating soup for the third time, eating microwave-heated chicken and spending the day with a heavy stomach, all of that adds up inside you. And the result is that persistent fatigue, that mind that slips, that feeling that something's always off, but no one finds the reason. And often what seems just part of aging isn't. They're signs of a body that's inflamed, overloaded, silently asking for help. The good news is, you can change this. You don't need radical shifts. You don't have to cut everything out, stop eating what you love, or become enslaved to complicated recipes. You only need small daily changes. Store food promptly. Use clean, tightly sealed containers. Avoid the microwave whenever possible. Eat smaller portions, freshly made. Listen to your body's signals and respect them. These simple actions, when repeated daily, are worth more than many medications. People who reach 70, 80, or 90 in good health didn't get there by luck. They got there by taking care of the basics with attention, because they understood that the kitchen is a temple, and that caring for your food is caring for your life. If this message touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment. Tell me, what will you change starting today? And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now is the time. Here we talk about body, soul, health, and truth with depth and respect. Thank you for being here. You're not alone on this journey. See you in the next video. And until then, take care of yourself. Because what you do today is what your body will feel tomorrow.